Hi everyone. So let's talk about Wendy Williams, since that has been dominating social media, YouTube, maybe even the regular news for the past, what is it, weeks, month? I don't know. It's been some weeks at least. But let me start by saying that I actually don't watch her show. Obviously, I'm familiar with Wendy Williams. I know what people say about her. And honestly, I am more familiar with what people would complain about regarding her radio show before the TV show, and some of the things she would say and do, and how angry people would get with her over her personality back then. Like, it was, you know, pretty, yeah, it was, she wasn't cute and cuddly, and I get that. And, you know, now she's a gossip TV show host, and people have been complaining because she can talk about everybody else and make commentary about everyone else's lives, but she's not talking about her own. That's what I want to focus on in this video. So, in hearing all this, and maybe it's different because I don't have like a personal attachment, or I guess it's not personal, but like I don't wish ill on Wendy Williams at all, but I was going to say I don't have a dog in this fight, meaning like I'm not perched waiting for her to come back to her show, even though I want her to be okay and to continue her show or whatever is best for her and for just, yeah. You know, I'm not like a dedicated audience member, and so I don't have that same level of investment in the entertainment value. That's a good way of saying it, I think. But yeah, with that said, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that comes to mind for me that does not come to mind for other people regarding this situation, or at least what we think we know about the situation, because you can never really know what someone's going through and what's going on in their house unless you're there. So I'm just gonna dive, jump right into what strikes me about her situation with her husband, the domestic violence allegations, the lady on the side, the show, the injury, her not returning to the show indefinitely, however that's going to go. So yeah, my first point is people are assuming that Wendy Williams is trying to cover herself, or that she is being a hypocrite, and that's the driving force behind her not talking about this. For me, my first thought is people who have as much money as Wendy Williams and who are having domestic disputes, and maybe she's going through a divorce. There's been some criminal allegations, actually, because domestic violence is a crime. They get quiet really quick because there are some legal issues that you and I typically don't have to deal with as regular citizens. Who don't have like $60 million or whatever her net worth is. So yeah, I think, and this is just my speculation, but the whole situation strikes me as a matter of her needing to settle. If there is going to be a divorce, that's not something you want to talk about with the media. And we kind of, I don't know if respect is the right word, but we kind of, I don't know. All right, I'm not going to let that bother me. We sort of give people their space, so we're like, oh, okay, the details of the divorce, we'll wait till they emerge because they've got to like divide up a bunch of stuff. Wendy Williams is no different, and in fact, that is probably even more so the case for her, given how much she's been able to accumulate and the fact that they work together. That's very messy, and that's a lot that has to be divided, and you don't want all this stuff leaking to the media. You want to get a judge that hasn't been prejudiced by what he's heard in the media. You don't want the wrong story to get out, meaning you don't want like one party, you don't want them influencing the other by leaking things to the media that aren't true or that might intimidate that person. So I think that's one reason why she's not talking. For legal reasons. Rich people lock it down when their wealth is at stake, and they defer to the lawyer. And I know that if I were Wendy Williams' lawyer, I'd be like, don't say a word. while we work on this case, because, you know, we're trying to work this thing out in your favor, in the son's favor, you can't, law and, or, you know, like high profile court cases and gossip, they go hand in hand for the public, but for the parties who are actually involved, it's best that they don't, run to the media. She's not going to come on the show and be like, oh my gosh, guess what happened at the hearing today? Like, that's reckless when you have that much money. And not just the money, but like, this is like a marriage that's been going on for however long. And I don't know, like, a lot is commingled between them. So in addition to that, let's say, and here's my second point, let's say she really is going through domestic violence with him. I don't know if anyone, I had to think about it for a minute. Let me preface this by saying that I've never had a man beat me up. And I'd like to keep that streak of, you know, domestic violence free relationships with men, but I've witnessed some. And usually when someone is abusing you, and I've witnessed and experienced other forms of abuse, when someone is abusing you, one of the common threads, and this is why abusers, we can talk about this with R. Kelly, with everyone else, this is why abusers are able to get away with what they do for however long, whether they get caught, you know, the next day, the next year, 20 years later, they operate under the cloak of secrecy, and they intimidate the person they are abusing, because they don't want the fact that they're committing crimes against this person to get out. Because then they're going to go to jail. And then Wendy, let's say she does want to leave, which I think she probably does. The case for her divorce and like the division of property, all that stuff might swing more in her favor if he's been beating her. So if you're the abuser, you're doing everything you can to keep this person quiet. And I don't understand. I don't know why people think, again, that would be, maybe people don't think about that at all, but like Wendy Williams' case is no different than anyone else's, especially again, because there's so much money that is commingled between these two people. So, I mean, there might legitimately be a fear factor. You know, people are speculating that the shoulder injury came from abuse. The mother-in-law allegedly said that there is physical abuse going on. Women who are in those situations oftentimes don't realize, I mean, they don't, like, no one signs up to be beaten, but they still, you know, like, go about their day-to-day life with high self-esteem. They might put up a facade of high self-esteem, but you're not going to let somebody beat you and intimidate you and manage your money and do all this stuff if you're okay. So I say that to say that women who are in abusive situations, men who are in abusive situations, children who are in abusive situations, people who are being abused typically don't have an accurate sense of self, and they don't realize how powerful they are. Now, if you're a child, you might, you know, you probably do feel powerless, because it's not like you could just like go get your own apartment or whatever. And oftentimes people don't believe you. So that's something different. So let's talk about adults. Adults who are in abusive situations don't realize how powerful they are. And in some cases, the other person might have more leverage. We don't know what's going on between those two. We don't know what secrets they know about each other. And I think I'm going to go ahead and head into my third point, which is a theory I have. So a man who can buy like whole houses and condos for mistresses and throwing his money around and this and that, and beats one of the most famous women in the country, maybe the world. I don't know if Wendy Williams is watched like everywhere, but she's very famous here, obviously. And, you know, we produce like the biggest worldwide, what am I saying, celebrities. A man who's beating someone like Wendy Williams, I am going to speculate that there is probably some other stuff that he might have, especially as long as they've been together, Probably some other stuff he's into, some other stuff he's done, maybe. And maybe not, because I don't want, like, Kevin, whatever his name is, coming looking for me. Not that he would. Because, like, you know, I mind my business and love the Lord. My lipstick is coming off, and I have the biggest struggles with lipstick in these videos, but it's fine. I'm not gonna stop to fix it. So maybe I can zoom out a little bit and it's not as noticeable. So I don't think that yeah, I was saying that Kevin, whatever his name is, he's probably into some other stuff and Wendy knows about it. And his whole reason for wanting to keep Wendy in the marriage is so that she won't go and tell, because she cannot be compelled to testify him. Let's say something does come out that he's been doing. Not saying that he's even, like, involved in some crazy stuff like the feds are about to swoop in and make, you know, Wendy testify against him. But if that were the case, they could not, because she's his wife. So there are some advantages if you are a person who's doing bad things and you don't want them to come out in a court of law. Like, you might want to hold on. I'm not saying bad people out there to do this and to, like, torture people by forcing them to stay married to you. But just to give insight into that thinking that I feel like a lot of the public isn't considering, a person like that has an incentive to remain married to someone who has reason to, you know, like, tell on them, send them up the river, report whatever they're up to. And there could very well could be something like that at play that we don't know about. Now the other thing related to that, what was I going to say? So yeah, I don't know. So on the flip side of that, he may know some stuff about Wendy Williams that he is holding over her as a fear tactic so that she won't leave, because, oh, if you leave, I'm going to tell everything. I'm going to tell all that stuff you did. And I was there, but you were there too type stuff. That could be going on. There could be all types of different ways that this man could be intimidating her into staying. And I mean, I will add to that, that it is entirely possible that she's staying because she doesn't want to face the public. It's possible, but, like, she's just going through so much that I don't want to put that at the top of the list. I mean, I'm sure she, like, no one wants to come out and tell everybody, oh, this man was, like, beating me and forcing me to do this and, like, taking my money and buying stuff for mistresses and whatever. Like, that's not fun, I'm sure, but I'm going to fix this. I'm going to pause this. I'll be back. One sec. Okay, I'm back. I had to fix that lipstick because it was getting worse. And to be fair, this is a really great lip color. I think that probably it just chipped off probably because A, it's 3 degrees here, and B, my lips are dry. Anyway, I haven't been drinking my water today. It's a shame. I'm trying to actively work on that. But enough about me. Back to this video. So, Wendy Williams' husband. Yeah. So, yeah, we talked about, like, the leverage and the fear factor and all that stuff. So, in addition to just being afraid of secrets coming out, because that's a very, you know, like, we don't know what... I mean, we know she had the past on drugs and all this stuff and maybe using drugs again. Like, we don't, and maybe that has been, you know, maybe he's been threatening, you know what, don't leave, don't tell anyone, or I'll tell everyone that you're back on drugs or whatever. I don't know. But I feel like there's a lot more, accessible, reasons that people are overlooking and just jumping to, oh, well, she doesn't want to tell her business, but she can tell everybody else's business. In addition to that, I think it's weird when people talk about this marriage as if she's trying to save it or, like, wants to stay in it, or I don't know, like, when people apply, that's like a whole other topic that I guess I could kind of touch on, but when people apply everyday standards to celebrity relationships, because trust and believe, probably majority of these situations, I mean, I'm not in anybody's house, so I can't give you numbers, but, like, I know that a lot of these situations are not as they seem in their business arrangements, or not saying that that's Wendy Williams' situation, but, like, the terms of these relationships and marriages aren't the same as the terms of yours and mine, and most people we see on the street. So, with that said, I get a little annoyed, I guess, when people assume that Wendy's like, people are like, oh, and the other woman, she's 10 years younger than Wendy, and Wendy has to compete with that. She must feel like XYZ, and, you know, maybe they can never have a happy marriage, and she just wants to go on and be with her husband. Yeah. I just, don't, I give her more credit than maybe a lot of people, and I want to say that that's probably not the case, because Wendy knows who this man is more than you and I know who this man is, and she's got far more compelling reasons to stay with him than just like wanting a happy house and home at this point. So I kind of think that, first of all, she's probably not thinking about the other woman, because like this isn't the first time that he's cheated on her. And I tend to believe that this mistress that we know about probably isn't the only one simultaneously. So it's kind of what he does. And hopefully Wendy knows and accepts the fact that it's not about the woman, the wife, so much as it is about the husband's character. So like, it's not, there is no, oh, well, Wendy Williams has to compete with that and the woman's younger. No, it's that her husband has crappy character and he's been running around doing what he wants to do. And now it's gotten out into public and maybe like even darker than people realize, with like the domestic abuse, and maybe he has like a child on the side, and maybe the mistress has like a side dude that she was giving his money and really Wendy Williams's money without Wendy Williams knowing to this woman. You know, like there's so many dimensions to this that I just don't imagine Wendy Williams realistically wanting to hold on to this man and have a traditional marriage. Like, I don't think that she's like up late at night, like, what can I do to make Kevin stay home? You know, she's seen the worst of him, and the worst of him is probably far worse than you and I have seen or heard on these gossip blogs and in the news and whatever, on message boards, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, it's just weird that, people apply that sort of thinking to this situation when it's like, would you want to stick around with that? I mean, I would be like, look, I'll call you an Uber Black and like have it drop you off over there, but just know that I'm going to change the locks, you know, and, you know, give me my money back that you've been spending, whatever. And that's another thing. Perhaps it is the case that Wendy Williams hasn't left him, and I think this is very likely. Possible that he wants more money than she's been willing to give him in a divorce, and that's why it's been going on for so long. Maybe they've been, you know, separated all this time, but she won't give him all the money he wants to just like leave her alone. All of that stuff I believe is entirely possible. So I think that's about it on the Wendy Williams thing that I'm going to say, because a lot of it is just like how I see, well, all of it is how I see the situation. And I just felt like everyone is eager for the gossip and overlooking some of the more obvious things that may be at play, instead of it just being a matter of, oh, Wendy Williams doesn't want to tell us, so she's not telling us. And even if that is the case, unless you've been worth $60 million, had a $60 million net worth, so I feel like humans are priceless. You can't put a price tag on us. Unless you've had a $60 million net worth and a husband for however many years and a son and, you know, the most famous gossip talk show in the country, and all this stuff has happened to you, you cannot dictate how long this woman should be allowed to have to compose herself before she comes to the public and tells her story. This might be like, I mean, the way I see it, this could be like a whole week's worth of shows, or like of Dateline, or maybe not Dateline, 2020. I don't know what comes on at primetime where people go to tell their stories. Maybe is it 2020? I don't think Barbara Walters is doing that anymore. I don't know, but like that type of show, she might have to, or like Oprah, she might have to go on Oprah and do like a 5-part show on her marriage and what really went down, and you know, what finally got her to leave, or you know, where they are now, sort of thing. And that would be because it takes all that, because none of us has ever been through what she's been through and had all of those factors in place. Most of us haven't. And then had like a public, whatever this is, whatever it's going to be, whether it's a breakup, whether it's them living together, you know, legally married, but with separate lives. I don't know what it's going to be, but like, I know that I can't relate to it, and 9 times out of 10, you can't either. Therefore, you cannot dictate how long another human being has before they're willing to come forward and tell stuff that they're going through, especially when they're still in the middle of it. And maybe she's in the hospital, and maybe she's in rehab, and maybe she's, you know, maybe the dude is still like beating her, behind closed doors, for all we know. Anyway, that's that. That's the end of this video. That's all I'm gonna say about it. So please do like my videos. Let me know if you want more content on, or I hate content, it sounds so transactional, but transactional. I said transactional. It's late. Let me know if you want more videos giving my opinion on stuff like this, or whatever. Yeah, just like this video. Please subscribe. I'm a young, new, budding YouTube channel, just kind of being casual with it right now. I'm enjoying our late night chats about random stuff, so I want to continue them. Let me know. Dang it, there's lipstick again. Let me know. Sorry. Let me know your thoughts on the Wendy Williams situation. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Talk soon. Bye.